Hello and welcome to Ensuring Success 2022, Day 2, afternoon of Day 2. We're closing in on 14 hours of continuing professional education, and we'll be excited to hear how many of you actually stayed with us for all 14 hours. So you can share that information on Twitter. We'd love it with the hashtag DecemberCPE. I am Gail Perry, Editor-in-Chief of CPA Practice Advisor Magazine, and I would like to take just a moment to introduce our sponsors who are making this event possible. And you know what? I'm about to sneeze, so I'm going to have Alexandra read the sponsor names. Can
Sure,
you grab that?
absolutely. We have ADP, Avalara, BotKeeper, CorePay, CPA.com, Canopy. Oh, the slide just switched. Hold on a second. I know I'm at Canopy. Wait a second. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Yep, there we are. Caseware, Field Guide, eFile for Biz, Intuit, Right Networks, SafeSend, SureLink, TaxFile, TechGuru, Xero, Zoho, and Sage. There we go.
Yeah, and of course I didn't sneeze as soon as I made room for it. But anyway, thank you very much. So we would not be here without the help of all of our sponsors who make this event possible. So thank you to all of them. I would like to explain how CPE works in case this is the first session you have timed into, because it's time management. Yeah. Okay, the way CPE works is during the session, we will display three codes, 3-digit codes at the bottom of your screen, and we will call attention to those codes with this bell. So when the bell sounds, you'll know that it's time to write down one of the codes. And there'll be 3 for this session. At the end of the day or the end of the week or whenever you decide you're ready to get your CPE certificates for this event, go to ensuringsuccess.com and click Get CPE Credit. And you'll be taken to a page where you can enter your email address that you used to register. And then you enter the codes that you received for these sessions. And you have to click twice. You click like go and download or 2 things. Click 2 things and then you will get your certificate on the spot. So that's how CPE works. The only other housekeeping item I have is at the bottom of your screen there is an Ask a Question box. And if you would like to ask a question of our speakers, or if you're having any tech difficulty and you'd like to ask a tech question, we have a tech team standing by. Or if you'd like to just share your experiences that relate to what we're discussing in this panel, we would be happy to hear about that too. And we will be reading those questions during the session. So I would like to start by introducing our panel for this session, which is on time management for accountants. And our panel is Jim Bourke and Liz Farr and Alexandra DeFelice. And I'll have each of them introduce themselves to you right now.
Thanks, Gail. So I am Jim Bourke, as Gail mentioned. I'm Managing Director of Advisory Services at Witham and also head up Advisory and Technology for HLB International.
Thanks, Gail. I'm Liz Farr, the owner of Farr Communications. I'm a CPA and full-time freelance writer. I write everything from blog posts to articles to full-length books. And I just love working with accountants because you guys are really smart.
And I'm Alexandra DeFelice, Director of Marketing and Business Development for Payne & Fears Law Firm in Southern California. I'm Gail co-moderator. I'm the designated bell ringer, and I'm taking audience questions.
All right, thanks everybody. So I'd like to kick off this session by talking about a handful of things that we do that can actually impede our ability to manage our time. And then we'll get into more discussion about techniques for managing time, but these are the things that kind of get in the way of making us good time managers. And they include a failure to prioritize the things that we need to do, ineffectively scheduling tasks, procrastinating, my personal favorite, failing to manage numerous distractions, like leaving your email on all day or taking calls or leaving your door open or whatever, undervaluing the time that something will take to finish. I knew I could get this done in an hour, and 3 hours later, still working on it. Multitasking, which a lot of people take pride in being able to multitask, but it actually kind of can sometimes impede your ability to manage your time. Being busy versus being effective. Being a perfectionist sometimes trying so hard to be a perfectionist prevents us from managing our time effectively. And skipping breaks, because breaks can be really useful in helping manage your time. So those are just some things to think about. If any of those resonate with you, they may be preventing you from actually doing a great job at managing time. And the other thing I'd like to talk about before we get into more of a discussion is a process that is referred to as goal-based time management. And I look at this as not only managing time, but I use the same process in managing money. Start with the big picture. What is it you're trying to achieve? And in terms of time, what is it you're trying to get done that's going to take you time to do? If we were talking about budgeting, I'd be talking about how do you plan to, what do you want to do in the future that's going to cost money? But with time, what do you plan to do that's going to take time? And look at the biggest goals you have first. Start with your life picture. And I really mean think about where you expect to be, not like at the end of your life, but when you're ready to whatever your last chapter is. So start big and think about how you're going to get there and the steps that it would take to get there. If you don't think about the steps to take to the next step, you're never going to get to the next step. So then start working backwards. So you've thought about your life and what the big picture is, and then start thinking about the things that you can see that are accessible, like within the next 5 years. So you may already have your days planned out, your next week or month, and maybe even the next year. But looking 5 years, what would you like to see that you've accomplished 5 years from now? Or where would you like to be? Or what role would you like to be in? Think about that and the steps it would take to get there. Then start looking about the very foreseeable future, which is like the first year or 2 years ahead of where you are right now. The things that you are actually seriously scheduling out. And I deal with a lot of the people at this conference who are really serious schedulers. And getting even people to come to this conference was like, well, you should have told me 8 months ago. So if you schedule out a year or to 2 years in advance, this is where you want to start thinking about the pieces that are going to go into that scheduling. Now start taking it down to an even smaller level, the specific areas of responsibility you have as a manager, as an instructor, as a parent, as whatever you do and whatever your roles are in your life. What are the pieces that make up those roles? And we've got, if you think about this, coming from your whole life to 5 years, 1 to 2 years, the things that you're doing in your role, and then take it down even farther to the projects that you're working on right now, and then the things that are on today's to-do list. So from that, you've gone from the whole life to everything you're doing right now. And if you start looking at how you're going to get to those big things and breaking those into pieces, those are pieces that you want to actually try and work into your schedule and your time management process, even now. Things that you can do now that will help you achieve those bigger goals are the way you're going to get those. Otherwise, you're going to be doing the same thing day after day after day. So that's kind of how I want to tee this up. And then I'd like to just talk about you guys and what are your favorite techniques for. First of all, do you agree with that? And then what are your techniques for reaching your goals?
So Gail, I will tell you, I mean, time management is one of the things I really struggle with as a young professional in the field. I would come in every day, I'd do a to-do list, and my biggest challenge was literally getting through that to-do list. Think about how many distractions that we have every single day in what we do. Clients calling, and today it's emails, people walking into the office. We had a discussion before we began today. It's when I'm in the office, it's probably my biggest distraction that I have. So many things happen around me that get in the way of proper time management. To me, it's balancing, as you mentioned, it's everything. Taking that full picture, it's life, it's work, it's all of those things. Time management happened for me. I will tell you, when I became president of the Jersey Society of CPAs, I needed to balance my workload with my responsibilities to the CPA Society. And everyone said, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? That really forced you. So I know that time management has to be a focused thing that you do, a focused effort. It just doesn't happen by itself. I think it fails if you try to let it happen by itself.
I think you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything that Jim said and everything that Gail said. And I just want to start with a little quote from Ron Baker from his recent book, Time's Up. Time is a constraint. You cannot sell it, store it, hoard it, trade it, or buy more of it. So that's something that we all forget. Time is a constraint. And as we all know, the work will expand to fill the time that you give it. And so the first step in time management is not allowing your tasks to expand too much to fill the time. If you have the intention that you will get something done within a certain amount of time, then you will find that you will get it done. And as knowledge workers, I'm a full-time freelance writer, and what helps me the most is finding the best time of the day for me to do my heavy-duty brain-lifting work. Now, accountants and CPAs may think that, well, all the work that I do is heavy brain lifting, but really there are certain tasks you do. There's some admin stuff that you do, and maybe you should schedule that for right after lunch when you're maybe not quite so sharp, or right before lunch when you're kind of cycling down. But have time in your schedule, block it out for the heavy-duty brain lifting work that you need to get done.
We want to take just a really quick break to show you at the bottom of the screen the first CPE code for this session. So be sure to record that code if you're planning on collecting CPE credit for this session. Okay, Alexandra, you're up. Favorite time management tips?
Oh, wow. I'm not used to people asking me the questions.
That's right.
Okay, well, I will say the one thing I started doing, it was actually after a time management. I used to be a journalist as well, and I interviewed someone about this topic years ago. And one of the tips, which is to not have that pop up when you get a new email. And they actually did surveys where they watched people's eyes and thought process, where they were working on a task, they saw the thing pop up, they ignored it, and they kind of were like, wait, what am I working on, and get back to it, right? So I'm still obsessed with email, and I still check it, but what I do is right now I'm working on a document, and if someone sends me an email while I'm in that document, unless I intentionally go to Outlook to check to see if I have an email, there's nothing that's gonna pop up in my face. And literally I sit down with people all the time, and I am watching them do that same exact thing. I write this person that gave me this tip, thank you, reminders on a regular basis.
Yeah, I agree completely about turning off the notifications on your phone. As a writer, I do that 100% of the time. I have all the notifications on my phone turned off all the time. I have my email even turned off. I see Jim is getting a little shaky.
Mine's not on my phone. Mine's on my email.
I live on my phone. So that would be a challenge for me.
Yeah, but think how much you would get done.
You're right.
But part of what you get done is what you do on your phone.
Correct. I live on my phone, so
That is
everything
true.
But it does. I agree with you. Those distractions get in the way of things that you had planned to do. I wake up in the morning. I get my day. In my mind, I think about all those things I want to accomplish in the day. And very often, it's those other things that get in the way, the IMs, the messages, the emails, the calls. Don't really get too many calls, but it's all of those distractions that tend to get in the way all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Now, some people say, oh, batch process your emails, okay? And that's a question that we're going to ask later on. I can't batch process them. I can't only check my email 4 times a day. I mean, I can. Is the world going to die? I'm a marketing director. I don't think the world is going to collapse. But I set expectations around immediate response. And, more and more, right, people expect immediate response. So how quick is immediate in an accounting profession? What is it? And can you set those expectations with your clients so that maybe they know that we will respond to you in 24 hours, we will respond to you in 2 hours? What's a way to manage your time but also manage expectations?
Here's the problem with that, right? So you look at expectations, client expectations. So I'm really good at responding to clients. They know I respond really quickly no matter where. I'm on a plane today with Wi-Fi. You can respond anywhere, right? So what happens is, I'll give you a situation that happened a couple of years ago. I didn't respond immediately to a client. I was at lunch. And the client called. I saw the client calling, but I'm at lunch. So I wasn't going to answer the phone. The client had emailed. I wasn't going to answer the phone. I wasn't going to reply until I got back from lunch. I got back from lunch. Our CEO at the firm happened to be in my office. He said, "Hey, Jim, I got a call from this client. He said you're non-responsive." I'm like, non-responsive? I've only been gone for like 45 minutes. So the expectations are, we set those expectations with our clients, right? If we are so good at replying so quickly, that's the expected response time. Years ago it was. I remember years ago we come into the office. If a client got called, we used to have the while you were out messages. If they got a call back the next day, that was all good. Today, with technology, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Expectations, we set that bar pretty high.
Yeah, and it's important to make sure that your clients are not running your life. That is a very hard thing to do as a professional because we want to provide the greatest service for our clients, but we've also got to get the work done. And honestly, if we're responding all the time to text messages, to emails, to phone calls, then we just don't have the bandwidth to do the heavy-duty work. You know, and this applies to your entire team. It's not just the people at the top, but it's everybody. It's really important to give your team the time to do that work. A friend of mine gave me an extreme example. At one firm, she had a quasi-administrative, quasi-tax prep role. And so she just kept getting bombarded from each side, from all over. So for 1 hour, just 1 hour on one day, she tracked how many times she was interrupted, and it was 22 times in an hour. And so how can you expect your team members to get any work done if they are getting bombarded all the time? You know, you've got to let them have time to do the work too.
I think we're getting really good at managing a lot of those distractions. I mean, look, think about this. You guys have one monitor with your laptop, right? At home, in the office, I have 4 going on. You guys probably have the same thing.
This
2,
is
3.
driving me crazy.
It is, right? Why?
I can't
Why?
function.
Because you can't multitask right now. You can't be checking your email. You can't be doing things. So we've learned. I mean, I'm presenting on a conference. I'm checking my emails. I got messages coming in on Teams. We got so much going. I feel like an air traffic controller some days, right? That's what our life is like as CPAs trying to service our clients. But I agree with you. Time management is so important. I think we're getting better at managing the time on all of those distractions to almost like it's becoming part of what we do.
Maybe so. I really like your point, though, about remembering that your staff needs the time to do their jobs, too. And bombarding them with questions while you've said, well, here's this assignment I need you to have done by 4 o'clock, and also this and this. It gets to be too much.
What's really too much as well is I think it's pretty invasive when you have people hitting you up on Teams. Today, it's so easy on Teams and Zoom to just you see somebody's green or online, let me just video them, let me just call them on a video, and that could be in the middle of something. So do I not take the call? Do I accept the call? And that then becomes a possible distraction. So life's about trying to balance all of this stuff, knowing when to say no. And I always say, like, busy people get stuff done. Busy people that are able to manage their time are able to manage it appropriately and get things done.
Right. Do you want to send that poll out about email?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go here. I'm laughing because I'm getting questions from the audience, but most of them are like, some of them are like snide remarks. And so, so I'm like, which one of these can I actually answer or ask? Let's see here.
We could ask the others offline. That's what we'll do.
Yeah. Okay. So the question is to the audience here is, how do you manage your email? Okay, so I only look at it during particular times of the day, that thing that I was like, heck, when you were like this about your phone, that's how I was like about the email, right?
Yes.
All day it's popping up in my face. I have a perpetual out of office message so people don't bug me. And believe me, I actually, it's more creative types. Like I know authors that do that where it basically says I'm unavailable the whole day. Like, and I'm like, wait, what? And then if you want to reach me, call me. These are the choices. So I'm opening up the poll and I'll send the results in a little bit. But there was a question, a snide remark maybe, sorry, person that asked us if it wasn't meant to be that way, but he's saying, are you saying to intentionally delay my responses? I don't know about that, okay, but I will tell you this. When I go on vacation, I do now, I didn't used to. I used to send an out of office that said, I'm on vacation and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now I say I have no email access. And if I really don't, like if I'm going camping or something, even if I go to sorry, boss that's listening right now, but even if I go to the store and all of a sudden I have a bar, I won't respond, because if I do, I told you I don't have email, but now I'm responding to email, so now you're going to keep emailing me, right? So if it's about expectations, right? If you say that I'm busy, then be busy. Don't stop what you're doing, and don't be not present in your current moment to respond to someone else who's not here.
You know what? You need to know when to turn my phone's off. You need to know when to turn these guys off, right? So, but we are so plugged in today. Even when we're away, even when we're traveling, even when we're on vacation, you do need to know when to keep it on and when to turn it off. Clients, I mean, they pay our bills, right? They are our livelihood. We bill our time. We're always there. We're the trusted professionals. We need to be there for our clients. So, but I do agree, there has to be that balance. We got to be able to balance it. Like right now, it's killing me. I'm presenting and I can't check my email. So it's
okay.
It's
You
okay.
really
That'll be another session on counseling on not checking my email. But that's just something we have to learn to balance, and we try to teach that to our younger staff. There's a right time and a wrong time to be checking your email.
So can I share some of the comments that people are making? Because I love it. Okay, so one, when you turn off notifications, aka set your phone to do not disturb, you can also set expectations to allow certain critical people and messages to get through. This might be necessary because of personal or family situation. When you turn off notifications, oh wait, that's the one I just read. I have a folder with nothing in it, ever. I keep my browser parked there so I can send an email without the distraction of what emails have come in.
That's a good idea.
And then there's a question. I don't know if this is a real question, but is there a way or tool to figure out energy level and time of day so I can be more intentional?
The best way to do that, I think, is just to pay attention to how you feel, to monitor yourself through the day. And there isn't really an app or a shortcut to do that. You just have to do it yourself.
There might be, because there's an
there's
app.
an app.
There's a market for it.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is.
But yeah, I've heard people just journal yourself for a couple of days and track. Of course, it's going to take time away from what you're actually doing, but track what you're doing and then look back and see how efficient your time was used in those different times of the day, and try and figure out your most productive times or your least productive times from that.
Yeah.
How do we feel about to-do lists?
Well, they are important. And it's better to have just a few things on your to-do list.
I don't know what that means. It's so long.
Yeah, but if you can if you have a big project that you want to do in your business, something that you really want to do, then a good way to do that is break it up into itty bitty, teeny tiny pieces. And then try to put 2 or 3 of those on your to-do list and get through those. If you can do that, then that helps. And having a to-do list, if these are really important things that you need to get done, then Yes, by all means, have a to-do list, but you've also got to give yourself the grace and the bandwidth to get through them.
I think you have to also prioritize it, right? You have to prioritize it. To me, when you say your to-do list is this long, I believe it, but you're never, how long is it going to take you to complete that to-do list? Right? So to me, a to-do list would be like a short-term goal that I have. These are the things I really need to get done today. And I'm so anal about it, I'd get them done today, no matter how long it's going to take to get them done. And I've gone through to-do lists where I could still be in the office back in the days when I was in the office till 1 o'clock in the morning because I didn't finish that to-do list. So that's the other extreme, but I think it's coming up with a very manageable to-do list.
Okay, so if I didn't have a to-do list, I would almost forget to brush my teeth every day.
You don't have a to-do list to brush your teeth. Don't tell me it's on your to-do list.
Not today, but like sometimes it literally will be like something that simple that you should be like, for real, you don't know how to do this. So this has evolved and I keep trying to better myself, right? But now that I have a few different things, I have the absolutely it has to get done today. There is no excuse. I put it on my calendar, like I assign it as an all-day task, and I know that it'll get done. Then I have Evernote, and in Evernote I have tabs because I used to have the Evernote thing kept growing and growing and I would try to print it, and it was like 8 pages long. So I have one that's to do work, right, and it is just this week, and because it used to, and it goes Monday. I start with Monday on the bottom, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I highlight the ones that have to be, and then the ones that don't, then I could just cut and paste onto the next day, right? Then, but then I have a personal to do personal. Then I have personal to do eventually, work to do eventually. These are all tabs though within Evernote in one thing. And then what I share with my coordinator is we use a tool called Asana. There's a free version, and it's basically to help me not have to micromanage her. So I can assign her tasks with deadlines, and she could put a comment like, still waiting for Jim to get back to me, and that way I don't have, and she could change the deadline herself. That has been a great tool. So I use multiple, but yeah, I live and die by.
So you're using technology to help you manage your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went out to the tax Twitter community, which is a wonderfully supportive community if you're not familiar with it yet, and asked them what their best tips for time management were. The number one tip, which almost everyone cited, was blocking out time. This can be as broad as, well, I'm only going to have client meetings Monday and Wednesday afternoon or Tuesday and Thursday mornings. Or it can be, we will have no external meetings as a firm on Wednesdays, to very granular, like on March 20th, I will be reviewing the 1040 for the Jones family from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And the person who had that level of granularity said that was a lot of effort to put in place, yes, but it also helped his team give clients realistic expectations about when the work would be completed. And that really helped everybody a lot. It really reduced the stress level a lot when everybody knew that this was scheduled and it would get done at a certain time.
So one of the ways that I schedule with a to-do list, handwritten on my steno pad, is I start with the things that absolutely have to be done today. And I have a master to-do list, but I do a separate daily to-do list. So the things that have to be done. And then I also schedule them. I don't schedule them. I try to schedule them for particular times, but I do schedule them for particular time spans. So this would take an hour. This is going to take 45 minutes. I'm going to allot 2 hours for this, whatever those are. However, I round up so that there's a little. If I think this is going to take 45 minutes, I'll schedule it for an hour.
You're like an airline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wheels up, wheels down. They got the extra time built in.
I do.
It's the Gail method of tackling your to-do list.
But then I have a backup to-do list of things that are not time sensitive, but that need to get done, but that are fun. And when I get that thing done in 45 minutes and I've got 15 minutes extra, I go to that and I can knock something off that list that I'm really going to enjoy. And that may be more of a long-term goal. I mean, maybe I'm reading something or working on an online class or something, or maybe I'm going to go water the garden or whatever. But it really makes me it pushes me to get that done within the 45 minutes, so I get that extra time that I can use for something for me.
So your to-do list gives you that pressure to get stuff done.
It does, yeah.
And get it done efficiently so that you can tackle your longer to-do list.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Kind of fun.
Yeah. So you can see, you're using technology, you're using an old-fashioned manual to-do list to get things done, and both models still work. You still have it, you have it right here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a quick, not a break, we're not going anywhere, but just a reminder, and post on the screen, at the bottom of the screen, the second CPE code for this session, which, thank you. You'll want to write this down if you're planning on claiming CPE credit for this session.
After we give them a second to write that down, do we want to see what their response was to the times? All right, let's, oh, this is interesting. Okay, you guys can't see it, but I will kind of do this right here. So 46% say I only look at it particular times of day. Holy cow, I want to know how this works, okay? 49% say it's popping up all day in my face. 4 people actually said they have it out of office, and 20 people said, if you want to reach me, call me.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, one of the other tips that I got from the tax Twitter community was to not to answer unscheduled client calls. To set the expectation that if a client needs to talk to you, they need to set an appointment through Calendly or Acuity or something like that, because that helps. And if they can, and with those apps, there are also options for the client to put a little note about what the call is about. That gives you a little bit of time to get ready, so you're not just calling out of the blue and saying, well, I have this question, and you're scrambling to retrieve the documents or look up the correspondence and figure out what exactly is going on. You have the time to get that situation straight in your head, and that saves everybody time. Then a call that might have been 15 minutes while you tried to gather information on the fly can be in and out in 5 minutes.
What do you do with those emergency calls from clients? Every call tends to be an emergency call where they need you yesterday, and where's Jim? I have to talk to Jim. I'm in the middle of a closing. I need this information. I need a copy of my prior year tax return. I need to know what my total wages were from last year from box 1 of a W-2. How do you deal with those?
That's a really tough question. and I would say that in reality, there are very few accounting emergencies.
That's what I was going to ask.
Let me tell you, you are absolutely right. There are very few accounting emergencies. But if it's the client's perception that it's an emergency, that's where we have to sort of jump and deal with that. That's probably the biggest struggle that we have every day, doing what we do.
That is true.
Trying to balance those emergencies.
Yeah. Well, I would say I don't have a great solution, and I think that everybody's going to have to find the right balance that works for them, for their clients, and for their team, because there really isn't a universal solution that works for everyone.
Right, I think, but it's a focused solution, right? We have to go into this making time. I'll share with you, I probably shouldn't even share this with my staff here, but I will share it with you. So I think one of the most invasive things that hit me every single day is when people just put things on my calendar. We share our calendar across our entire organization. We use Teams. So our staff have visibility into our calendars. And to make it easy on each other, we just put things on an individual's calendar, and the technology makes it easy. You see, hey, this is an ideal time to schedule it. Let's just put this on the calendar. Well, what the calendar doesn't realize is Jim might be on an airplane. Yes, the flight leaves here, and the flight gets there at this time, but maybe he has a rental car. Maybe he's on the way to, maybe he's so many other things aren't necessarily scheduled on the calendar, and I was dealing with all of those distractions with people just putting stuff on my calendar, like between 12 and 1, maybe I want to have lunch. Yeah. I didn't schedule it, but it shows as open on my calendar. So what I did, giving away my secret here, is I just scheduled a gym time. I said gym time, and from January 1st until December 31st. And it's one event. It takes up the whole calendar. Now when people look at my calendar, they have to ask me, oh, your calendar appears to be full.
Yeah.
Do you have any availability to have a meeting? So at least I get that ask instead of looking at my day and seeing all of a sudden it went from being clear to being filled with meetings.
Yeah. It might be also, there's probably an app for that, where you can just schedule open time every day that can be scheduled by other people.
That's really cool. And we've done that a number of times. Like I'll have office hours. So when we were virtual, and we're still virtual today, but I mean, we lived during the pandemic and we were home, and you want to have office hours with Jim. Jim is available between 1 and 3. And so I pop open Teams, there's a Teams link or there's a Zoom link, and I'm on it. I might be eating lunch, I might be multitasking, but you can pop in anytime between 1 and 3 and we can have a chat. So there's opportunity to do that during that scheduled time. So there's no interruptions the rest of the day.
I put every Friday from now till eternity, I put 9 to 12 busy.
Do you?
Yeah.
Now I know that secret, okay.
But then if
Mine's 9 to 11.
because only on Fridays, and it's because I have certain things that I sometimes want to do on Friday mornings and take care of it, and I'm like, but that way, if somebody tries to schedule something, I think about it really hard first. Do I want to get rid of that time that I've blocked off for creativity or whatever else? Yes or no? Okay, that's my choice. But if someone tries to schedule something, they'll say, oh, really, Friday at 10 is the only time I could do, but I see you're busy. And again, it becomes my choice.
Right. That's what you got to turn it around. You can make it your choice.
Yeah.
I think we all need that in our time management. We all need those breaks. We were talking before we started presenting today, and I used to love just popping into clients, showing up at clients. If I'm driving the clients here, just that's the thing I miss, is that those are the things that we don't schedule. Those are the things that we don't make time for. And from a client perspective, client retention, they love that stuff. They love it when Jim just shows up at a client just to say hello. Really, it says a lot, but unless we schedule it today, we just don't do it. Yeah. So we need that extra time, that open time to be able to do those things.
And we also need the time to ask the questions and to be present with our clients. We need that time. And the whole team needs that time, because we can't do the high-level advisory work and consultative work if we're just always running from fire to fire, putting out fires. We just can't. We need the time and we need the bandwidth to sit back and think about what our clients are trying to accomplish, how we can help them, and what are some questions we can ask to guide them. And to do that, you just need time. And maybe you need to budget that time into your schedule too, so that, before you meet with a client, let me spend 10 minutes just brainstorming what's going on with them. Because the object of our time is to be of service to our clients, but if we're not intentional with how we use that time, then we're not going to be a very good service to our clients.
So that open time, that does it, right? So that's a huge issue for me. And we try to push that to all of our staff. I mean, I head up advisory services at the firm. We're so big at doing the compliance stuff. We schedule all the compliance stuff, the audits, the reviews, the compilations, the tax work. That's all scheduled. It's the other stuff, the cross-selling of the advisory stuff, the cybersecurity work, the outsourced accounting, the SOC job, all of the other things that we're starting to do in our profession because we're the trusted advisor. If we tell our clients that we have the ability to do something, they would likely use us instead of someone else down the street, right?
Exactly.
So how do we know that? Unless we have the time to communicate with them and talk about this kind of stuff, we'd never create those opportunities. And we're not going to schedule those types of things, right? So those are the things that we need to have time in our schedule, time in our calendar open to be able to have those discussions with our clients.
Jim, I'm going to call on you, since I always think of you as the tech guy.
Okay.
I'm not used to having a non-tech conversation with you.
I know, I'm like out of my element right now, but it's all good.
But we're talking a lot about communication, and now we're talking about higher level interactions with clients. Several people asked about client portals for, I would call it self-service. Can you talk about that and how that can potentially help from a time management perspective?
Sure can, absolutely. So you think about client portals. Let's just think about the biggest ones out there.
And define a portal for those who don't know what they are.
Portal is just a collaborative tool between the firm, a company, and their clients or whoever else they want to do business with. It could be the firm and staff. So two biggest portals, public portals that are out there, you think Box and Dropbox, right? Content management, document management, things you want to share are sitting there. So think about like a document request letter on an audit, how it used to work. You send the client a letter. The client gets everything together and sends it to you in piecemeal. They're mailing it, they're emailing it, they're sending it via text. It's big distractions all day long. If you have a portal and you let your clients know, hey, get the information together, just put everything there. I could check that portal whenever I get a chance. And if it is mostly complete, then I know the staff are ready to go out and work on the job. So a portal itself, I do agree, it helps to eliminate distractions and helps you better manage your time. Oh, absolutely. Every accountant should utilize a portal in a practice today. Everyone. Everyone.
I do.
All right.
I was a latecomer, but it was COVID that pushed me over the
Okay,
edge.
COVID, exactly, because
Yeah.
you learn to collaborate better with your team members and with clients.
Yeah.
I don't know, at some point, there's just so many good pieces of advice coming in here. Should I just read a handful and then you could interrupt me for CPE, or should we
I'm going
stop
to interrupt
now?
you for CPE first and
Sounds
then
good.
start reading some tips. Okay, our last CPE code is going to appear on the screen right now. So please record this if you plan on claiming CPE credit. Sound effects, Alexandra. Thank you.
Sorry, I was focused on what the clients are saying.
All right.
Okay. Here's some thought. God, there's so many. I'm going to have to be careful. I don't want to go crazy. Okay, well, someone says that they train their staff to be able to answer questions so that the emergency does not come to them.
I like that. That's
Good.
leveraging their expertise, leveraging staff. I'm a huge advocate for leveraging our younger staff. Plus, they're learning as time goes on. I love it.
Yeah, I like this. Feel free to comment or disagree with any of these.
I love that.
Schedule a joy break during the day.
A joy break.
Oh, nice.
What's a joy break? Is exactly what we think it is, like having fun?
Yeah, I mean, my joy, all right, it's not super joy, but it's like a little level of contentedness for me is I literally go downstairs and walk outside for 2 to 3 minutes and just take in the sun, because I live in SoCal and it's amazing weather all the time. Sorry, East Coast. And just breathe in air, and then I'm like, and I'm happier. I don't know what this individual meant because they didn't specify, but to me, that's a quick joy break.
I think we did that, right? We did that during the pandemic. I was home, and I live in a beach town in Jersey. And, I'd get up, go to the gym, come home, I'd work, I'd have breakfast with my wife and kids, and then go back and work. And then I'd take the dog for a walk. So I had joy time all throughout the day, but at the end of the day, I was so productive because I got so much done. So I think it's hard to do those joy breaks probably when you're in the office.
A last one I'll do for now, and then I'll get back to you, Liz, because I know you got a long list of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this is something that, again, things that maybe you take for granted if you utilize Outlook a lot, but if you don't, email tip. If you're using Outlook, you can set up rules for various message types so that certain ones will go to specific subfolders or be forwarded to other team members, or you can even auto-assign priority levels based on the sender or certain elements of context.
Absolutely. So you get that annoying client, let's just say, we all have them. You get that annoying client, you give them their own folder, okay? If they're continually emailing you, set that rule up to dump them into that folder. I'm not saying ignore the folder, check the folder.
Just wait till you're in the
But
zone.
wait till you're in the zone when you know you're going to have to react to that client. Think about most of the emails that we probably get today, they're distractions. They're not really focused, right? They should be deleted, and junk doesn't pick up on all of that stuff. I love the folder, and I love the rules in Outlook.
Yeah, one of the other tips that I got from Tax Twitter was to set up an Eisenhower matrix. Now, an Eisenhower matrix is you differentiate between things that are urgent and non-urgent, important and not important. So you want to be working on the important things before they become urgent, so that you're not just putting out fires all the time. That means that can reduce your burnout and just make it easier to get through things. If you keep things from ending up in the urgent pile, then you'll be a lot more productive. And another tip was to work backwards. This is from Luke Templin. He said to set 2 to 3 goals per quarter to improve your firm. break them into little bitty tasks. Pick 3 key tasks to accomplish every day. Make sure that at least one of those is just 15 minutes long. And if you keep doing that throughout the year, then at the end of the year, your firm will be in a much better place than if you're just putting out fires and just doing the regular compliance work and getting the work done. It's really important to make time to work on your business, not just in your business.
Excellent. Okay, here's one of my favorite tips. I have like papers everywhere, and my desk was getting to the point where it was hard to find room on it to do some work.
I know.
Yeah, you're not that kind of person.
Document management, content management, Gail. We could talk after this.
Okay. But anyway, I needed a way to deal with this stuff, and it was, and I work at home, so some of it's personal and some of it's business, and the insurance bills come in, and I've got this thing I have to write. It's going to take me a half an hour, but I can't do it today. It's going to be next week. But things that didn't warrant like permanent place in the filing system or anything. So, so I set up a temporary filing system. I'm a paper person, so sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. So I set up a filing system of 30 files, numbered 1 to 30. And I have a spreadsheet to go with it, 1 to 30. And every time a piece of paper comes on my desk, it goes in one of the empty files. It goes on the spreadsheet. When I need to do that, it's in file number 12. And then file number 12 is empty, and I can do it, and it's off my desk.
It's your logical way of managing your time.
It keeps my desk clear.
Right.
Yeah.
See, we're all so different.
Yeah.
I mean, you balance the paper with electronic, with digital.
Yeah.
I'm like all digital for managing my time, and it can be done.
So you would like scan it and
Oh
put it
man,
into
everything. I don't have any paper. I have 0 paper. I have a scanner on my desk. Even my phone, I'm taking pictures of, and I'm electronically saving that, organizing it. That's how I balance it. Like that's how my brain sort of works. So I balance it that way.
Well, and a time suck can be trying to find those files.
Right.
Be it physical files or electronic files.
Unless you're organized. Think
I
about
can
your
search my Excel spreadsheet, and there
right.
it is.
There you go. Think about your organizational skills. Think about that goes hand in hand with time management as well.
And there's another, this is another, I guess it's organization, but it's time management, is email subject lines, right? I'm really careful with those because I file all my emails. And when the accountants or the attorneys that I work with send me stuff, the subject line is like FYI. And then down there, like way down, after forwarding all this stuff, is like, by the way, I need this by tomorrow. And it's like, wait, what? So it's like, I'm really intentional. Like, what is it? When do I need it by? Is it just FYI, or is it your response needed by Friday regarding X person's tax return, right? And then when I do a search for any of those things, I'm able to much more easily find it.
Yep.
Are there tips, I don't know, is that a time management thing, or is it?
It's your way of doing things. I mean, you could also search on the content of the text in the emails. You could search for anything today, right? So you happen to search on the subject line, which is good. That's your way of doing things. To me, it's as long as it's there. My goal is to have nothing in my inbox.
I was just going to say, surely you're a 0 inbox
My goal,
guy.
I have a 0 inbox.
I'm
my
usually-
goal, right now I don't, and it's really bothering me right now. Okay,
Yeah.
I have 0 inbox, and I don't have it right now, but that's my goal, to have a 0 inbox.
Mine is below 50, except when I'm at Ensuring Success, and now it's at like 3,500.
I'd be like this right now.
Yeah, well, we're just all very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the trick is to identify the problems, the things that are impeding your ability to control your time. You may have figured out how to manage it, but you still need to control it once you've got the management system down. And what's preventing you from doing that? Whether it's an email issue or papers on your desk or whatever the issue is, then try and zero in and find a cure for that. And it can be a self-made cure like my file drawer, or it can be something, it can be an app, it can be something you've read online. But I wanted to share with you too just this quick little survey of, if we're wondering how it is we waste our time. Account Temps did a survey a while back on workers revealing their biggest distractions on the job. Now, the first one, I think this was a pre-COVID survey, so we're kind of going to ignore the first one, which was employees chatting and socializing, because now that whole process has sort of changed.
It's coming back, though.
Okay.
As we get back to the office, we were talking about that earlier as well, is that we got that chat going on again.
Chat going, okay. Next is non-business related internet use. Next is meetings, which take up so much more time than they need to. Next is personal calls or emails. And finally, work-related email was the smallest of all the time wasters there. So, all right. So, any last thoughts about favorite tips or caveats or ways to meet your time management big goals?
Well, I've got a couple of books that the people in tax Twitter recommended.
Okay.
One is Deep Work by Cal Newport, and this is a great book. This will help you learn how to structure your life so that you can maximize the time that you spend in really heavy-duty brain work, the really impactful work that we all need to do.
And that's Cal Newport?
Cal Newport.
Okay. I'm just putting this in. I'm going to put this in the chat for the audience. These
Perfect.
books.
Perfect. Another book that he wrote is called Digital Minimalism, also by Cal Newport, which explains how to really streamline your life digitally so that you don't have as many distractions. And another book along those same lines is Indistractable by Nir Eyal. And that name is Nirreyal.
Okay.
And this really trains you to really prioritize what's important in your life so that you can get it done, and how to really develop an indistractable mindset so that you can get everything done and you can focus and get it done.
I'd say just be intentional. Be intentional about scheduling that extra time in your day to be able to manage time better.
I have a few other books to add to that list. Well, I'll add two. One is Getting Things Done by David Allen, which is, I've read lots of time management books, and most of them say things like, well, get up an hour early when it's peaceful and you'll have that extra time. But it's still only 24 hours in the day, and so that means I have to go to bed an hour early, and I'm not really getting extra time by getting up that hour early, or I'm losing sleep, one or the other. But David Allen has practical tips, which I really love. The other one I like, which is actually a financial planning book, but it had some great tips that even apply to time management. It's called Invested by Danielle Town, and part of her process of a plan for financial freedom, as she calls it, is to start with a blank slate. Imagine nothing's on your list at all. And then where would you start? What are the most important things that you want to get done, whether it's in your life or in your job or in your family or among your friends or within the day or the week? But what's the most important stuff to you? And when you're starting with a blank slate, you can actually, when you visualize this blank slate, you can actually see more clearly what's out there in your life that is really, really significant. So I thought that was a pretty interesting outlook. So any parting thoughts? Anyone else?
Remember, time is a constraint. We only have as much as we can do it. And the work that you have will fill the time that you give it. So if you want to spend all your time working and dealing with email, then
Cool.
don't bother.
Eliminate those distractions. That's what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much. This was super fun.
Yep,
Yes.
thanks, Gail.
All right, we would like you to come back at the top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to be talking about security trends for accounting firms, so you won't want to miss that session. 2 more to go in our 14-hour marathon. We will see you at the top of the hour. Thank you very much.